stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't.
The Waynesboro Police Department is investigating a drive-by shooting that left one person dead and another injured in Waynesboro, according to Waynesboro Police Department Chief Augustus Palmer. The shooting took place around 1 a.m. Monday, April 14th on the 100 block of East 11th Street, Palmer said in a news release. Devin M. Bonner, 26 years old, was found dead at the scene, and Kilian Burdett, 25, was found suffering from a gunshot wound. Chief Palmer says they are looking for suspects in an unknown vehicle that fired the shots. No one has been taken into custody at this time. The Waynesboro Police Department and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation are investigating this incident. If you know who or where this drive-by shooter or shooters may be, please call Chief Palmer at 706-554-8029, Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and unshot. Burke County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to what may have been a gang war shooting that occurred at 4960 Highway 80 West in Waynesboro at 1:43 a.m. Sunday morning this week. Deputies found that several younger people had been shot while partying at a garage there. The GBI was called in to help. The victims that deputies found were 17-year-old Rakesha Graham, 18-year-old Prometheus Donnie, 19-year-old Shaquan Hines, and 21-year-old Darius Smith. A fifth victim, 17-year-old Brandon Harold, was brought in by family members to Georgia Regions Medical Center for treatment later, as he thought the cops would find out what they were doing and didn't want to get arrested. On Monday, the Burke County Sheriff's Office and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation arrested 3 suspects in connection with the shooting. A 16-year-old juvenile, 19-year-old Takori Lamont Lakes, and 19-year-old Brandell Shaquille Little. Each were charged with 5 counts of aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. The Burke County Sheriff's Office is continuing with the investigation and expect more arrests in this case. The Burke County Sheriff's Office is asking that anyone with information concerning this investigation call the Burke County Sheriff's Office at 706-554-2133. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and dodge a bullet. On April 10th at approximately 20:46 hours, Richmond County Sheriff's deputies responded to the 100 block of East Espinosa Street in reference to a shooting. Upon arrival, deputies discovered a black male had been shot on Japonica Avenue and was driven to his mother's house on Espinosa. The victim was transported to GRU for medical treatment of non-life-threatening injuries. No suspects are in custody at this time. If you know who or where this shooter may be, please call Sergeant Monica Belzer at 706-821-1080. Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and get paid. When we posted this "Be on the lookout" to social media, a Crime Stopper responded with, "If I get shot and someone takes me to my mom's house, remind me to kick their A."
Consider this an invitation to my gangster nation.
Recent shooting sign of growing gang violence in Richmond County, police tell the Augusta Chronicle's Bianca King. Authorities say they fear that the recent slaying of a teen points to growing gang violence in Augusta. Gang graffiti was spray-painted at the intersection of Lawfulwood Drive and Brookshire Road. Investigators estimate that Richmond County has several gangs. Dijon Cortez Abbott, 17, was charged with murder, aggravated assault, and a weapons violation in a fatal shooting in July on East Kensington Drive. 19-year-old Marquez Eubanks died after being shot at that house party on East Kensington Drive on July 18th, and 2 others were wounded. The man police arrested in that homicide, Dijon Cortez Abbott, is a member of the South Augusta Gang 23rd, which is warring with another gang called 600 or 600. Lieutenant Jason Vinson, who worked with the FBI's gang unit before coming to the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, said shootings related to gang activity have become more frequent and are escalating more quickly from physical fights to gunfire. Vinson said he's seen gang members getting more brazen about their allegiance recently. Instead of hiding the gang colors, they're flaunting them and getting t-shirts and hats made to show that they are gang members. The number of gangs in Richmond County is not clear, investigator Ashley Fletcher told the Augusta Chronicle. Every little or big neighborhood seems to have one, she said. Most of the gangs are comprised primarily of teens, but some of the more established ones have older members who are related to the younger ones. Barton Village's OWTT, or the O-Dubs, have been around since the 1990s and is one of the largest. The parents of the grown people I was investigating would claim to be members, Vincent said of the group, that is estimated to have more than 100 gangbangers. 2 of last year's homicides were determined to be the result of gang activity. Danielle Hicks and Tremaine Jones were both fatally shot at the River Glen apartments within a month of each other. Police said the second death was retaliation for the first. Some of the gangs are considered smaller chapters of larger national gangs such as the Bloods, Crips, and Folk Nation. Devon Harris, who meets and speaks with gang members across the Aiken and Augusta area, says sometimes the only thing standing in the way of someone leaving a gang is finding steady employment. But dealing drugs or stealing items to resell are sometimes easier for a recovering gang member than moving on. Up to 75% of crime in any city is gang-related, Harrison estimated. They have to survive. Richmond County Sheriff Roundtree said he's working to create a gang task force that can prevent criminal activity. One of my main goals is to prevent young men from entering into crime or winding up in prison or dying in the streets, Roundtree said in an email. We understand that youth violence is a major problem in our area, and for years we have seen a steady increase in gang-related incidents. Our goal is not just to stop the cycle, but to break it. If you know of a gang crime, please call 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org or text your tip to 803-441-UP-HIGH, where you can always remain anonymous. The rewards are up high, and you tell Crime Stoppers how you want to be paid.
Aiken County investigators are asking for your help searching for at least 3 bank robbers that they say walked into the Security Federal Bank on Canal Street with at least 1 rifle around 10:30 Monday morning, April 14th. The men fled in what is described as a large car that is either tan or gold in color. If you think you know who or where these armed robbers may be, please call Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and unrobbed. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office Traffic Division is asking the public's assistance in identifying an unknown vehicle that struck 2 pedestrians on Gordon Highway near Dan Bowles Road. Both pedestrians were juveniles and cannot be identified at this time due to the sensitivity of this accident. However, as mentioned in a previous release, one of the victims did pass due to his injuries.
If anyone has any information regarding this hit and run, please contact Sergeant Monica R. Belzer at 706-821-1080, Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you remain anonymous and save kids. On April 12th at 0:30 hours, a black male subject entered the Waffle House located at 3411 Mike Paget Highway with a blue in color Walmart bag over his right hand. The suspect jumped on the counter and demanded cash from the register. The staff handed the suspect an undisclosed amount of U.S. currency. The suspect was last seen running east towards Apple Valley subdivision. The subject was described as follows: a black male with light brown complexion, 5'8" to 5'10" in height, 200 to 230 pounds in weight, and approximately 18 to 30 years old, wearing a white t-shirt, camouflage shorts, and gray shoes with white soles. Then, on April 13th at 2:10 hours, deputies responded to 3444 Mike Paget, the Sprint gas station, in reference to a robbery of the business. Deputies learned that a black male entered the store with a plastic bag over his right hand and demanded money from the register. The subject obtained an undisclosed amount of currency and fled the store towards the Apple Valley subdivision. The subject was described as the same subject above. The subject was described as wearing a black sleeveless shirt, Jack Daniels brand, red gym shorts, and what appears to be the same gray shoes with white soles. If you think you know who this black male with some tattoos may be, please call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office at 706-821-1080, Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, or text your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and get paid. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office reports a Columbia County firefighter's home was burglarized while he was working a 24-hour shift during the ice storm. Firefighter Jeff Prouty's family says the burglars took off with expensive electronics and priceless family heirlooms. Crime Stoppers want you to know that burglars and thieves are sometimes looked on and protected by entire communities as Robin Hoods who rob from the rich and give to the poor. Only we never see them giving to the poor unless it's a poor crack dealer. There is a certain attitude that if you're not standing guard over your stuff 24/7, that you have too much stuff and you don't need that much stuff anyway. But the facts are that most jobs lost now are the result of thieves and robbers wiping out entire companies when they steal the things that company needs to do their jobs. If a truck is loaded with all kinds of tools that an entire crew of workers needs to do their work with is stolen, as several have been lately, every worker loses their job until that truck and tools are replaced. Sadly, most of the time nowadays that never happens, and everyone just loses their job. The good news is these thieves gather in locations all over the CSRA to swap their stolen items for drugs and guns. And when they have these swap meets, they sometimes gather in large crowds. Keep your eyes open for sudden gatherings of people pulling things out of their trunks to sell and flash mobs of customers gathering to buy. This is when you can call the cops and have them ask for ID and inquire about where all this stuff came from. Most of the time, the thieves and burglars are driving on a suspended license, have outstanding warrants, or are fleeing from crimes they just committed and are at the swap meet to buy guns and other items they intend to use to keep on robbing and thieving. So even though the cops may not be able to bust them for all the stolen stuff they're selling, at least they get slowed down a little with court appearances and sometimes even jail. Anytime you see a large group of suspicious individuals gather very quickly and start pulling things out of their trunk and offering them for sale, typically for next to nothing, or if someone is offering you something that they have no reason to have, then you are probably looking into the eyes of a burglar who may take a liking to your stuff too. If you know where any one of these people selling stolen items are, or know how police may find any of their thousands of burglars who are wiping out all the jobs in the area, please call Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and keep your stuff.
I'm Dave Michaels with this week's edition of Spot Crime, where we highlight crimes reported in the CSRA. We've had 53 assaults around the CSRA. They took place on the 1700 block of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, the 1300 block of Cherry Avenue, the 2300 block of DeVries Street, the 1800 block of Cooney Circle, the 3900 block of Deborah Street, Old Waynesboro Road, Pleasant Home Road at Treburton Trail, 2400 block of Yates Drive, the 2400 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 2400 block of Jumper Drive, the 2600 block of Barclay Street, the 2400 block of Amsterdam Drive, the 700 block of Broad Street, the 2300 block of Heritage Court, Fox Trace Drive, the 2400 block of Southgate Drive, the 2700 block of Margaret Court, the 2100 block of Lumpkin Road, the 600 block of Bransford Road, the 2000 block of First Avenue, the 2100 block of Silverdale Road, Milledgeville Road, the 2300 block of Amsterdam Drive, the 3200 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 100 block of Skinner Road, the 1100 block of Azalea Drive, the 3100 block of River Oak Road, the 2700 block of Smith Drive, the 500 block of Broad Street, the 2100 block of Helpsome McBeam Road, the 400 block of East Boundary Street, the 600 block of Sea Owl Drive, the 3400 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 3100 block of Washington Road, the 2100 block of Bayville Road, the 3700 block of Vera Drive, the 1300 block of Beeman Street, the 3500 block of Camac Drive, the 200 block of East Telfair Street, the 1600 block of McCalkey Street, the 1600 block of the Gordon Highway, the 2500 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 3500 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 2800 block of Deansbridge Road, the 900 block of Molly Pond Road, Bath Peterson Road, the 2900 block of Wellington Street, the 1600 block of McCalkey Street, the 2100 block of 2nd Avenue, the 500 block of Logan's Way, the 3100 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 1500 block of Wooten Road, and the 3500 block of Windsor Springs Road. 30 burglaries around the CSRA. They took place on the 1500 block of McCalkey Street, the 3700 block of Beacon Hill Drive, the 2300 block of Tobacco Road, the 4200 block of James Street, the 2300 block of Allen Avenue, the 2200 block of Rozier Road, the 3500 block of Edgeworth Drive, the 100 block of Milledgeville Road, the 1100 block of Huntington Drive, the 1700 block of Hicks Street, the 1500 block of Bertrand Court, the 2800 block of Ingleside Drive, the 2500 block of Redoubt Circle, the 2900 block of Glen Hills Drive, the 5000 block of Old Waynesboro Road, the 2400 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 2700 block of Ingleside Drive, the 2100 block of Helpsome McBeam Road, the 400 block of Sandbar Ferry Road, the 3900 block of Deborah Street, the 2000 block of Nanmart Court, the 100 block of Watkins Street, the 2500 block of Hanover Street, the 2800 block of Beacon Drive, the 1900 block of Powell Road, the 2900 block of Willis Foreman Road, the 3100 block of Melba Drive, the 1700 block of Rush Drive, the 2900 block of DeHalla Drive, and the 3500 block of Windsor Springs Road. 7 robberies around the CSRA. They took place on the 1200 block of Ellis Street, the 100 block of Poor Street, the 1800 block of Watkins Street, the 3300 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 1700 block of Starnes Street, the 2400 block of Dublin Drive, and Meadowbrook Drive. 2 charged of damage to property on the 2500 block of Cross Creek Road and the 2400 block of Amsterdam Drive. 2 charged of reckless conduct on the 2500 block of Andorra Drive and the 1700 block of Sibley Road. If you know anything about these crimes or any other crimes, call our toll-free tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you may remain anonymous and may get a cash reward. And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
Special Agent Jay Dobbins has taken on the worst of the worst in his career, but he never dreamed he'd be taking on his own government. Dobbins claims that after risking his life and his family's, he was betrayed by the very agency he was proud to serve for 27 years. I was in Tucson, Arizona recently for closing arguments in Dobbins' case. And as he told me, he's suing the federal government to try to ensure that what happened to him doesn't happen to another member of law enforcement. But he's not overly optimistic because the key players in his case were allowed to stay on and carry out ATF's deadly gun-walking scandal, Operation Fast and Furious.
This has been what is characterized as an American law enforcement horror story.
What happened to Jay Dobbins was wrong, and it was wrong on an epic scale.
It's a sad day. It's an 8th career ATF agent. It's a sad day for ATF leadership. The agency has lost its way.
And at this point, I can't differentiate between the conduct of ATF's executives and the Hells Angels.
This whole case really stands for the idea that, sadly enough, in ATF right now, if you go that extra mile, when you come out from undercover, they're not going to have your back.
Years and years of death and violence threats against me and my family have been ignored by ATF.
It all started back in 2001 when the feds knew that Agent Jay Dobbins was their man to infiltrate the notorious biker gang, the Hells Angels, for the first time ever.
He is a modern-day warrior who do things to the limit, 120%.
We have a dangerous job that assumes risk, but our job is to protect the American people. It's to handle America's business for violent crime. I'm not afraid. I will stand up to the bully.
But when the Hells Angels operation ended and Jay Dobbins' role in that investigation was revealed, the death threats started coming and his home was burned to the ground. And that's when the tables turned.
There was threats to kidnap and gang rape my wife on videotape that ATF disregarded, never reacted to. There was evidence of threats of murder contracts on me being solicited amongst various criminal groups, the Hells Angels, the Aryan Brotherhood, the MS-13, that ATF did not want to pay any mind to.
A federal agent's home is set on fire in the middle of the night with your wife and children inside. Most people consider your house being set fire to at 3:30 in the morning to be a threat. ATF is possibly the best arson and explosives investigative body in the world. You conduct a threat assessment. ATF did not do that.
Instead, according to Dobbins' attorney, the ATF tried to frame Dobbins for arson.
ATF was audio recording him twice without his permission, without required authorization from the U.S. Attorney's Office, long after the best agents out there said, we're done. This guy and his family had nothing to do with this, and yet management went ahead and still continued to pursue him as a suspect unreasonably. Department of Justice was gracious enough, I guess, to stipulate that they in fact did audio record him without permission after we found it out through discovery.
This is how Eric Holder's DOJ, with the word justice in its title, handles America's business and treats our law enforcement officers. It happens because people become power corrupt. The ATF Internal Affairs report found the agency guilty of what they had done, and they stood by and allowed DOJ to continue to attack me, even though they had a hard, cold document in their hands, internally produced, that told them that everything that DOJ was denying and arguing against was actually true and was accurate. They have each other's back, and that's it. Everybody else is left to fend for themselves. The DOJ's strategy was to deny the truth, to morph the truth, and hope to out-resource me. I told ATF's executives face to face, I will see this through or I will die trying, but you will not break me. You will not get me to quit.
Jay Dobbins said that you guys abandoned me, you have not protected my safety or my family's safety. The Department of Justice, the most they did is that they countersued Jay for money he made from a book about ATF.
They've also had my book on display within ATF headquarters, publicizing it and promoting it on a wall called ATF Authors, and bragging on the publishing of the book, at the same time suing me for it, saying that I harmed and damaged the agency.
Wasn't there an Inspector General report that concluded that the ATF's office in Phoenix did not adequately address the threats that were made to you?
They went beyond that they said that ATF was reckless and dangerous and full of malfeasance, and shrug and not do anything, not even lift a finger to conduct an investigation into it.
They withheld information, and as a result, we don't know who did this. We don't know if they're out there loose.
Today in court, U.S. Federal Judge Francis Allegra stated that the government's treatment of me was wretched. He said that the misconduct that was impacted on me was purposeful, it was based on professional jealousy or nothing else than spite.
It was mind-numbing. I was embarrassed for the United States government there, quite frankly.
Nothing surprises me at ATF anymore because these guys, they can't do the wrong thing right. One of the most disturbing statements in closing arguments was the DOJ defense attorney said that this problem lays at the feet of Jay Dobbins. It's so typical of Eric Holder's DOJ. Their attorneys will not, cannot, are not capable of taking any ownership over anything that they've done wrong. And that's not just in the Jay Dobbins case. That's in every conflict that DOJ is in. It's always someone else's fault. Nobody cared about what the OIG found. They sent that report to President Obama. They sent it to Eric Holder. They ignored it. And they left those people in place knowing that the allegations were true. And what happened in Operation Fast and Furious, and ultimately Brian Terry's death, should be no surprise to them. They were corrupt. They were dirty. They were criminals, and they chose to believe, ultimately, the people that ran Fast and Furious instead of me. Not one of them was stung by the criminal acts and the corruption that they participated in, while Josie Terry sits at home and mourns the loss of her son and can't get a single straight answer out of the government. It's sickening, it's disgusting, it never ends and it won't ever end. Because until that dog bites and results in a termination or a prosecution, do more cops have to die? I think that as agents, we hope to leave some kind of legacy behind, and I never believed that my legacy would be someone that was fighting against my government for justice. I'm hoping that the judge will rule in my favor, but if he doesn't, the core goal of my mission was to expose the truth and expose the people that were behind the bad acts and the criminal conduct I faced, and I've accomplished that. What DOJ and ATF never understood, that this lawsuit was never about money. You cannot repay me for what they've done to destroy my reputation, my career, what they've done to harm my family, the exposure they've left us under. There is no amount of money that will ever make that right.
You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't. If you have any information on these or any other crimes, call our national tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, you'll stay anonymous and could get a cash reward. You can see this or any other episode of Crime Reports and Rewards on the web anytime at crimereportsandrewards.com. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michaels Media.